Going to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. We are on day one of the tournament play. Day 6 overall. Coming up next, it'll be the Denver Nuggets taking on the Toronto Raptors. The Nuggets have not lost yet. 3-0 coming into tournament play. The Raptors have not won yet. They are 0-3. Part of the great part of Summer League is having simultaneous games going on at both the Thomas & Mack and Cox Pavilion. Next door, we've got Kristen Ledlow and Steve Smith calling the Atlanta-Indiana game. The Pacers leading 80-61.
Sims.
Let's go next door.
Strong. 8 points thus far. As the Pacers continue to pull away. Just a dominant performance from start to finish here in this matchup.
Nice job on the offensive glass. Alpha Kaba for the 60th pick, the last pick for the Atlanta Hawks. He's been solid in this summer league.
Trae
Unbelievable
Young
size.
With 16 points thus far in this matchup. And this is the highly anticipated matchup between these rookie point guards, Trae Young and, of course, Aaron Holiday as well. Trae Young, drafted 5th overall by the Dallas Mavericks, of course acquired by the Hawks on a draft day trade. They also got a future first-round pick. Aaron Holiday, the number 23rd overall pick. He, of course, the younger brother of Justin and Drew. And this matchup, everything that we anticipated it to be, Smitty.
It was good. On the side of the Pacers, Aaron Holiday just made more plays, and his teammates moving around were just a little bit more, I would say, played a little bit harder for them than up until this game. They moved it better, and I thought Aaron Holiday controlled the tempo better. Trae Young, it's just, they didn't have any movement. But so far right now, it looks a little bit better, and Tyler Dorsey knocks that one down.
Tyler Dorsey, a 7-0 run now. 49 seconds to go here in this third quarter. Sumner looking inside, but the foul's called.
If you get a chance to see that play, we're looking at the guards right now. Both guys 5'11", 6 assists for Aaron Holiday. 2 of 6 from 3, 16 points.
In such a difficult position to thrive in the NBA right now. Floyd Mayweather sitting courtside, but the point guard position, Smitty, right now in the NBA has to be the best crop that we've seen in all of the league's history.
And guys that do it at a high level. You see Floyd Mayweather, the champ. The Hawks right now, Jalen Adams is limping a little bit. But they've cut into this league. And I like it. Finally, you see the bench up. Jalen has done a nice job. That's a nice little elbow Kristen gave.
Yeah.
Bench is loving it.
A 9-0 run. A lot to love. 32 seconds to go here in this third quarter, and they've cut the deficit now to 12.
Now, I want Chris Gent to put my guy Junior Robinson in. He's 5'5", Christian, but can he score? He was 22 points at Mount St. Mary's. Undrafted rookie at 5'5". I want to see him. Look at Tyler Dorsey. I'm telling you, this lineup, we called it, just had more activity. Guys talking, pointing. So you have guys like Zach Smith. I didn't score the basketball. Jalen Adams has scored a couple. Tyler Dorsey talking.
An 11-0 run now by the Atlanta Hawks to close out this third quarter. The largest lead by the Indiana Pacers is 27. It's now down to just 10. As he scores, we're back up to 12.
Back up to 12 right now. Beautiful move by Edmond. Kid from Detroit, 6'5". Great handle. Unfortunately for Xavier, but he got hurt with him. They had a fantastic year with him. I think they could have furthered their chances in the March Madness tournament. But he's coming off those injuries, starting to look better and look good.
What have you liked about the Hawks' run? What have you liked about their ability to cut into this deficit? What's been the difference in these last couple of minutes?
What I like, Kristen, is great question is, if you just watch, they've been active. Their offense been moving. Jalen Adams is one of those guys that put pressure on you. And then Tyler Dorsey, 2 guys that did a nice job of getting this Hawks team close to this game.
Well, don't forget, coming up next here from Cox Pavilion, we'll have the Toronto Raptors and the Denver Nuggets, one of the top 4 seeds. But more Atlanta, Indiana on the other side of this. Coming up in just a few moments here from Cox Pavilion as part of the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League, OG Anunoby, second-year pro out of Indiana for the Toronto Raptors, taking on the Denver Nuggets, the number 4 seed in the tournament. And we will tell you during the course of the broadcast what a great story Anunoby has been, going back to a little over a year ago at this time when he seemed light years almost away from the NBA. Great story to tell when you look at where he's finished up, but you might not know the front part of that journey. It started literally thousands of miles across the country from Canada, in Canada, from Toronto, all the way in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we're going to throw it back next door in just a few moments at the Thomas and Mack Center, where the Indiana Pacers lead the Atlanta Hawks 85-74. We saw Trae Young play really well in his last game for the Atlanta Hawks. But right now, Indiana leading by 9 points, a little over 9 minutes to go. Got a couple of second-year players in our game coming up between Denver and Toronto that have been shining throughout this summer league. Denver Nuggets undefeated so far in opening round play, as the Atlanta Hawks with Trae Young on the bench right now, watching his teammates trying to make a comeback. We're going to go next door to Steve Smith and Kristen Ledlow.
Got to be excited, Christian.
Well, they've got a break next door. We're going to keep it right here at Cox Pavilion. Mark Jones, Doris Burke, Cassidy Hubbard waiting for this next game to start. The Toronto Raptors won 59 games a season ago. But we're going to start on the other side of the ledger with the Denver Nuggets, who, if you recall their regular season, the one thing that sticks out in your mind is the last game of the regular season in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. The Nuggets had an opportunity to make it into the playoffs with a win. Unfortunately, they lost. So it's back to square one, Summer League, get it going again. And Monty Morris has been one of the mainstays of this Summer League crew.
He has, Mark. He's been efficient as a scorer. His assist-to-turnover ratio is absolutely outstanding. He talked to Cassidy about having so much more confidence. His trademark at Iowa State was he was tremendous with the basketball. He didn't turn it over, didn't make mistakes. This guy has been efficient. He's made shots, Mark. He's found his teammates. He's run his team. He's making a case not only to make the roster, but to fulfill that backup point guard role for Mike Malone in Denver. And that one got his teammates excited. I love it.
Monty Morris did a nice job for the Nuggets when he was in Denver. Started 3 games, averaging a little over 16 per. Meanwhile, hey, the Toronto Raptors won 59 games in the regular season. Were thwarted once again by LeBron James, this time in the second round of the NBA playoffs, losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hit the reset button. Nick Nurse, now the new head coach, taking over from Dwayne Casey. One of the guys that remains on the roster that they look to get a little bit more out of in terms of his growth, OG Anunoby.
He was a starter on that 59-win team, Mark, primarily because of his abilities on the defensive end of the floor. Started 62 games. He has got to build his offensive game, but he has got the kind of athleticism and switchability that makes all the difference in the world. And if they're going to continue to shoot a lot of threes, he's got to be efficient from out there. The athleticism, as long as the handle is tight, should allow him to balance that with an ability to get to the cup. But just do this, right? Trailing 3, walk up into your shot confidently, Mark, and you see what he did a season ago. Double digits 10 times in the playoffs, 3, and thus far in Vegas, he's done it twice.
And he has been a real solid all-around player for the Toronto Raptors going back to last year. And earlier, Cassidy Hubbard caught up with OG.
Thanks, Mark. I'm here with OG. And OG, you were a starter in your rookie season, and you performed well in the playoffs, guarding some of the biggest names in the game. So here at Summer League, what is your mindset?
Just try to dominate, try to work on things I need to work on for the regular season, and then just try to win games.
And I talked about how the fact that you are often put on the best players on the other teams, namely LeBron James. So how would you describe your defensive mindset?
Just shut down whoever I'm guarding, cause turnovers so we can run, transition, and score.
Well, what has your new head coach, Nick Nurse, given you about your performance here in Vegas so far?
He knows I'm trying new things out. Like sometimes like looking for teammates, trying to create for myself, and hitting shots, stuff like that. That's what we do.
Thanks, OG, and good luck.
Thanks.
Anunoby looking to add a few wrinkles to his game, as a lot of guys attempt to do during Summer League. But they certainly love what he's shown them so far. And we talked about Nick Nurse taking over as the head coach for the Toronto Raptors. Nurse, a former assistant on the same staff with Dwayne Casey, has pretty good lineage, working his way up through the ranks, coached in the G League, won a G League championship with the Rio Grande Vipers, the G League affiliate of the Houston Rockets. And he is one of several new head coaches in the NBA this year, joining Kokoshkov and Lloyd Pierce of the Atlanta Hawks. A little bit earlier, Cassidy had a chance to catch up with the new head coach of the Raptors.
Thanks, Mark. I'm here with the Raptors' new head coach, Nick Nurse. You're also coaching in this Summer League team. What went into that decision to make sure that you were head coaching here?
Yeah, well, I've kind of always been a roll up my sleeves and get to work guy, so I thought we'd get after it. And it's been really beneficial, mostly for the staff, get them integrated into some of the new things we're going to be doing and pace of practice and just some, X and O game things. And it's been really good so far.
I'm sure it also helps to have a guy like OG out there who was a starter for you guys last year. What have you seen out of him, and why'd you want him to participate here in Summer League?
Well, OG's trying to expand his game like any young player, and with us last year, he kind of just fed off of DeMar and Kyle on the kickouts and did what he could do, and he's an excellent defender, and we're trying to give him a little more rope to go to work a little bit with the ball, post him up a little bit, maybe take it off the dribble a little bit more just to try to expand his offensive game, and he's done a good job.
As you say, you're trying to roll up your sleeves, you're taking over the reins in Toronto. What would you say is your vision for the future?
Well, I mean, it's no secret that we need to play better at the end of the year, and it's a year-long project that started right when I got the job, and all our focus is us playing our best basketball come playoff time, and that's it.
Congrats. Actually, good luck, and enjoy the season.
Okay, thank you so much, Cassie.
His counterpart is Mike Malone, who's sitting in the stands, and we will be joined by Mike. And I think a year ago they were 46-36, but they were dynamite at home, Mark, 31-10. It was the road that was challenging, and you wouldn't be surprised by that, right?
No.
With the youth that they have, 15-26.
And Nikola Jokic signed a long-term extension there with Warren Legary, the owner of the NBA Summer League. Jokic, an all-around talent at the offensive end, especially almost 19 a game, 50% from the field. Look at the number of assists per game, 6.1 to go along with 10.7 rebounds. They actually had him under contract for another year. They're like, you know what, we're going to tear this up.
Come on.
And we're not going to risk anything. Re-sign him to a long-term extension. Not to mention the fact they also re-signed Will Barton to a contract.
Sign.
Great two-way player for the Nuggets. Morris, Beasley, Leiden amongst the guys to watch for the Denver Nuggets. Meanwhile, for the Toronto Raptors, Malachi Richardson, Thompson, Welsh, Alkins, McIntyre, Richardson, and Anunoby.
Jokic walked in, and I'm not sure. I think Cassidy's going to track this down for us. That might have been his brothers who he walked in with. Now, Jokic swears, because they beat the absolute bejesus out of him growing up. They just pounded on their brother, Nikola Jokic, but he swears he got one of them to tap out. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but Cassidy Hubbard's got to find out for us.
There's some big cats, man. Just underway, the Raptors, the 29th seed. The Nuggets, the 4th seed, haven't lost. Thompson inside with a nice-looking sweeping jump hook. Jalen Thompson, the big fella.
George Mason product.
Thompson, all of 7 foot, 242 pounds. Welsh from outside, short on the three. Thompson with the board. Thompson spent most of last season in the G League with Raptors 905. Hawkins with the spin move off the mark. Raul Hawkins out of Brooklyn, New York, played at Arizona for a couple of years, undrafted. Coming out of the draft this past June, had 12 points in the opening game, but just 2 points on Sunday. Great anticipation by Malik Beasley. Oh, doing it the Seminole way out of Florida State. Mike Malone watching as Beasley took off.
He's got to be thrilled with that because he got a little slow out of the gates, Mr. Beasley.
He's going into his third year. And this is a big pivotal year for Beasley, who played for Leonard Hamilton and Stan Jones at Florida State.
Well, just a really good anticipation. Nick Nurse was calling for the reversal. Beasley's like, yeah, I'm on that. I'm going to jump the passing lane on the reversal, and a big-time athlete. My goodness, that's pretty.
Beasley was Florida State's first one and done. Nice cut inside. Biden couldn't finish. And back come Raptors. That pass went out of bounds. Hawkins couldn't get the handle on it. The pass from McIntyre. Just underway here, 2-2. There's a look at Malik Beasley. Spent a lot of time with their G League affiliate last year. Out of Atlanta, Georgia. Scored in double figures in both Summer League games, at 19 against Boston, then 10 against Minnesota. Morris out front. Beasley getting free and off to a pretty good start.
This is exactly what they want. They want that guy playing with energy, keep things simple. 1 or 2 dribbles, get into your jumper. A really good start for him.
I misspoke a moment ago saying that he was with the G League affiliate. He spent the entire year in Denver. 62 games off the bench for the Nuggets. Just thinking about his rookie year. Welsh lost the handle. Beasley runs it down. That's going to be a backcourt violation. Well, we checked in on the Hawks and Pacers a moment ago. The Hawks have now stormed back and taken a 3-point lead against Indiana. The teams have ratcheted up the intensity a little bit here in day one of tournament play. McIntyre inside to Thompson, pulled his way to the bucket.
I like it, Mark. He set a screen. He went to set a second screen. He couldn't get there, but he just rolled strong to the cup.
Monte Morris from downtown, and it's a splash for Morris. The Nuggets coming out hot on offense.
Good job by those two men to play off each other. Tyler Lydon and Monte Morris, just efficient, good ball movement.
McIntyre calling for the screen from Thompson. Thompson inside. Got his own rebound. Missed with the offhand. Nuggets out and running. Leading 7-4. Morris off a nice drag screen, and the floater is good.
Yep. Welch does a nice job. Quick transition opportunities, early offense. Monte Morris, he plays at great pace, doesn't he, Mark? It's going to be his speed. He's going to determine when we go and when we don't go.
Monte Morris actually signed his 2-way contract with the Nuggets immediately following Summer League here in Las Vegas a season ago. Anunoby on the probe. Missed the layup. Denver looking to push. Beasley on the wing. Malik Beasley a year ago was, well, coming out of college, was really good during the interview process. Adding to his on-court skills. A long three by Beasley, short at the end of the shot clock. Anunoby from deep. And it's one and done for the Raptors at the offensive end. Morris on a nice hesitation. Drew the foul and one.
Well, Mr. Morris, 6'3", 175. Been dynamite in this Summer League. Let me just give you an easy bucket. Get myself to the free throw line. Yes, sir. 7.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League from sunny and warm Las Vegas, Nevada. The Cox Center, and look at some of the sights outside here in Las Vegas. And Doris, life is a beach. We're just playing in the sand right now. Day 1 of tournament play.
And our sandbox is a gym.
Yes. It's fun.
No doubt.
Morris couldn't complete the three-point play. And Thompson with the rebound. Monty Morris and Malik Beasley, a couple of guys that have been around a little bit in the NBA, leading the way so far for the Denver Nuggets, leading by 7. And Anunoby a little bit conspicuous by his silence so far in this game. McIntyre out front on the switch. Good contest by Welsh. There's Morris. Welsh had the mismatch. Nice kick out to Leiden.
I like Welsh.
What does he like about him?
Well, I think he's just got a good feel. I've seen him try to create good angles when he's tried to screen for the ball handler. On that entry, he knew he had nothing, so he makes a quick kick. Physically, it's going to be a challenge. You can see he's been knocked off, rebounding a couple times, but he knows the game, Mark.
Beasley couldn't finish, and Welsh hustling down the floor on cue with the follow. A 9-point lead here early in the game, just approaching the 4.5-minute mark.
Good defense there. Nice job staying vertical.
Morris on the leak out, had Beasley on the trailer, and Leiden couldn't get the follow to go. And there's the foul on the break. Take a look at the brackets right now on day 1 of tournament play. Each team guaranteed 5 games. They played 3 games in the opening round, then seeded the teams 1 through 30. Denver the 4 seed, Toronto number 29.
First team foul on the Nuggets.
Houston will take on Cleveland on one side of the bracket. Winner of this game will take on the winner of Golden State against Charlotte. Boy, Malik Monk was playing well for Charlotte before he was injured, and they shut him down for Summer League. Lloyd off the screen by Thompson.
He can be electric, Malik Monk.
Yes.
Yeah,
Whistle and a foul as Thompson will go to the free throw line. Stay with Charlotte for me for a minute. They take on Golden State. The winner of that one will take on the winner of this game. What do you make of what Charlotte might look like now? Kemba Walker, Tony Parker at the point guard spot in the backcourt. How much does Tony Parker bring at this stage of his career?
Well, the way he's made it sound is that his role could be bigger. He obviously is advanced in his career. San Antonio clearly wants to continue to develop DeJounte Murray, who is one of the more unique prospects at the point guard position that I've seen. Unbelievable length and speed and athleticism. He's got to, continue to grow as a decision maker and ability to make shots when they're there. But first of all, it's going to be bizarre to see Tony Parker in a Charlotte uniform.
It's going to be a little jarring,
yeah,
right?
Kemba is the starter. As you see, the Atlanta team, 103-101. Unbelievable competitiveness to get back in that one.
We like that high-scoring game there. That floater is good. Trae Young with the floater, and Atlanta, what a comeback. They were down the first time we checked in next door, and now up by 4 with a little over 11 to go. Beasley on the run. Great hit ahead to Morris. Beasley looked for the return pass. It never made it. Great ball movement so far. Talking to Beasley, comes from an interesting family. His grandfather was the defensive assistant in the movie Rudy. Comes from a line of actors. His mom was an actress in The Hunger Games. His father was in the movie Fight with Denzel Washington and The Accountant with Ben Affleck, amongst others. Certainly, he interviewed so well with some of the NBA teams coming out of Florida State that some of them were a little bit skeptical, wondering whether they were acting skills being put to use in the process, believe it or not. They're always looking for negatives, right?
What is the skepticism? It's like you told me yesterday. Who was questioned? Mo Bamba questioned because his intellect was off the charts. I don't understand it, Mark.
Did he love basketball enough? Yeah. Never a bad thing. No such thing as being too smart. Welsh fouled out top. Denver leading by 5. Beasley out of the gate quickly when we come back. The game just went final. Trae Young right there is back to being Trae Young. 23 points total. 16 of them coming in the second half, Doris.
You mean he's not a bust? He's played a few games. He struggled out of the gates, but there's that range shooting that you saw at Oklahoma. The teardrop, which you must have at his size. Hard off the screen. Is it going to be a lob pass or his floater? It's his floater. Boy, the jumper looking a little bit better all of a sudden. He's settled down, Mark.
Yeah, people really have a tendency to overreact early in Summer League. Lydon hit Morris, who replaced after the pass.
That's a couple times we've seen Lydon in a two-man game, just playing nice and smooth and easy. Give it up, get it back.
Denver leading by 7 right now. 2.5 minutes to go. McKinney missed that lob. McKinney got off to Young got off to a real rough start in the Utah Summer League. But here in Las Vegas, the last couple of games especially, has looked a little bit more efficient.
You know what I wonder if it triggered it, Mark, was I believe it was the July 7th game that there were some assists, the double-digit assist game. Like, there's some pressure on these guys. There's nerves. Their first NBA experience. They're young. Can we remember how young they are?
Drafted 5th overall and traded for Luka Doncic in a draft day deal. Trae Young will be on ESPN2, folks, tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time against the Portland Trail Blazers. Trae Young in Atlanta, ESPN2 tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And right before that, you'll see the battle of a couple of Los Angeles teams, the Lakers and the Clippers.
What gym are we in? Thomas and Matt.
Next door.
Put the Lakers and Thomas and Matt. Come on now.
Need to fit all those Laker Nation people making the trip on the interstate across. Terry underneath for the Nuggets. They lead by 7.
They like his energy, how hard he works, Terry.
Raptors still looking for their first win of Summer League play. Boucher out of Oregon missed everything that time. And battled for the rebound, tried to keep it alive.
Boy, he is so lean. My goodness gracious. Look at how skinny his legs are, Mark.
Pretty lithe. And strength always an issue in this league. You got to have it. That's going to be a turnover on the walk. Now jerseys are trade resistant. That's right. Get this. NBA Store will replace the jersey for free of any player who changes teams within 90 days of purchase. Have an American Express card, use it, and get covered on jerseys for a full year.
That is so smart.
So how do they do that? Do they just switch the numbers and the logo, or they give you a new one?
They're giving you a brand new jersey. Come on.
Okay, so they're just not getting the tape on the back and just get some magic marker?
No.
McKinney from deep got the 3 to fall. Alfonso McKinney for the Toronto Raptors. Started both Summer League games, averaging almost 10 per to go along with 5 rebounds. That 3 is going to be way short, partially blocked by Boucher. A good job at the defensive end. A foul called as OG Anunoby gets ready to check back into the ball game for the Toronto Raptors. We got a technical foul called against Jordi Fernandez, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. Here in Summer League.
Have you seen many of those? This is my first.
See a lot of different things. You know what? I think I have seen a technical or two against Summer League coaches here in Las Vegas. Haven't seen an ejection yet, but we still got a few days to go.
Right there as the officials coming up the floor. It doesn't look too demonstrative.
No. 36 seconds to go. Anunoby back in the game. Potts out front. A deep three. He pulled from way back and hit nothing but net. It's a 1-point game. And a 4-second difference between the shot and game clock. Drive up high. Good block underneath by Boucher.
Emmanuel Terry with the rebound and the put back for Denver.
Terry with the stick back. 10 seconds to go. Lloyd and Boucher, little two-man game here. Boucher on the pick and pop. Nice extra pass. It'll count. And Potts with consecutive threes. That one ends the first quarter.
Giddy Potts, back-to-back buckets, nothing but net. Boy, you're on the park shooting, it goes in this clean, you're like, I am rolling today. 9-2 run, all threes.
Back for the start of the second quarter at Cox Pavilion, part of the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League. Day one of tournament play, joined by Bobby Webster, the general manager of the Toronto Raptors. Bobby, thanks a lot for joining us. And the Toronto Raptors hitting the reset button. And it's a very unique situation when you consider the fact that you guys won 59 games this past regular season. What are some of the objectives from a personnel standpoint, in particular, moving forward and looking at playoff success?
Definitely, I don't know if I call it a reset, but I think we're looking at how do we continue to compete in the East and come out of the East as the Eastern Conference champ. So personnel-wise, I think most people know our backcourt with DeMar and Kyle, and Summer League is a great time to figure out who that next wave is. And so last year we had a lot of success with our bench group. A few of them are out here, but that's the constant pull of making your roster is having the depth to continue to have some success.
DeMar DeRozan had to adjust his game. You guys talked to him about being willing in this day and age where the three is so highly valued. Can you just talk about what both men gave you last year? Kyle, maybe at times reluctantly, but it proved worthy not to play so many minutes, but the adjustments for both men. What pleased you about what they did?
A ton. Those two guys are our heart and soul of the team, both emotionally and on the court. So when we approached them last summer about changing the style of play, they were both very receptive to it. Obviously, there's going to be some growing pains at the beginning of the year as far as DeMar taking more threes and Kyle playing fewer minutes and DeMar playing fewer minutes. But those guys embraced it, and with the help of the younger guys who pushed them and allowed them to play fewer minutes, I think we had a ton of success.
You had two outstanding assistant coaches to Dwayne Casey. Of course, you won 59 games. Rex Kalamian, essentially the defensive coordinator. Nick was the offensive coordinator. And I think, just tell me about the selection of Nick Nurse. What intrigues you about him? Obviously, you guys, under his direction, along with Dwayne Casey, changed what you did. But what really stood out about Nick Nurse for you guys?
First and foremost, from the first meeting we had with Nick, the thing he mentioned most was winning. He cares about winning. It's all he thinks about. That leads all of his decision making is how does this lead to winning, and I think that was something that we care about. And as Mark sort of pointed out at the beginning, that's our goal now. Yeah. That's our goal to continue to build this team.
Bobby, we're going to ask you to stick around on the other side of this break. We'll come right back with Bobby Webster, GM of the Raptors. Stick around. Back here in the second quarter, Mark Jones courtside chopping it up with the general manager of the Toronto Raptors, Bobby Webster. Bobby, let's talk about a guy we have out here right now, OG Anunoby. I was talking about his story a little bit at the top of the show, going back to last year. He wasn't even here participating in Summer League. He was rehabbing from a very serious knee injury, and you guys have some of the best medical people with the Raptors. Alex McKechnie does a great job getting people ready. He came back earlier than expected, was ready for the start of the season, had a fantastic year for you. And what do you expect in terms of him making that next leap from him here in Summer League and beyond?
OG had such a great year at shooting the basketball and then defending, and everybody saw even in the Eastern Conference semifinals against LeBron. And so this is a good opportunity for him to change his role a little bit. And so he'll be a little bit more of a featured player offensively. You'll see him, dribble, drive. You'll see him do a few individual moves that he doesn't get to do during the regular season. So that's what we want to see out of this. We want to stretch him. We want to see what works, what doesn't work, but we don't necessarily want to hold him back too much. This is a great chance for him to play and get, really high-level game reps.
One of the big part of your teams, and I think a necessary element to be a championship team, is you've got to have some depth. And your bench mob was absolutely incredible. Fred VanVleet, I think probably, despite his incredible success at Wichita State, took some people by surprise. The Pirtle, Siakam sort of tandem. There was just, can you describe what that bench meant to the success you had a season ago?
You guys saw it. There were games where they finished games. They won games for us. And what that allows, the stars and the starters to do is rest, get ready for the playoffs. But more importantly, it gives those guys confidence that, hey, next summer I'm coming. I want to be a starter, right? And so that type of competition is good on any team, and we really welcome it.
We talked about the bench, and there's a look at the guys: DeLon Wright, C.J. Miles, Siakam, and Pirtle. They did amazing things, and Dwayne Casey, the then head coach of the Raptors, not afraid to, as you said, they closed a lot of games. Anunoby showing some of that drive ability that is probably the next phase in development of his game. Has all the measurables, and now it's about taking that to the next level. What does a successful season look like next year for the Raptors? Because you don't see a lot of 59-win teams change coaching staffs. That's kind of the reality of the NBA. It doesn't happen that often. So it's not about the regular season, obviously. Tell us what success looks like next year, because it could be a little ambiguous if you look at the fact that you won 59 games and had a great run under Dwayne Casey.
It's compete for a championship. That's what it's been the past few years in Toronto. That's where we want to be. That's the most important thing to us at this point. You mentioned, we've had regular season success. We've had some postseason success. We haven't had the type of postseason success that we want.
You went to the conference finals.
Right. Yeah. So, we feel like we're in the mix, and, keeping the team together and keeping our core together is important, and so we'll continue to grow from here.
Did anything Fred VanVleet did last year surprise you in any way?
I think he surprises you, continually. I was saying during his press conference back in Toronto that 2 years ago, I think he was the backup point guard on this summer league team.
Huh. Incredible.
So then he goes to training camp, makes the team. Then he wins a G League championship his first year. Comes back here last year, plays summer league here as a starting point guard. And then by the end of this regular season, he was one of the finalists for Sixth Man of the Year.
And he was closing games, and he had earned the equity with DeMar and Kyle to where they would distribute the basketball to him late, which to me, for DeMar and Kyle, I hadn't seen that kind of trust and equity with a lot of other people late games. So I thought that was sort of an extraordinary transformation. I love Fred VanVleet.
Who's the guy this year that's, quote unquote, in the words of Fred VanVleet, betting on myself? Is there a guy this year that has almost a similar type of profile that's performed well here in Summer League and maybe earning himself, if nothing else, a two-way deal or contract?
There's a couple of guys that, coming out of college that didn't get drafted that we really like. They're both on the bench right now, but Giddy Potts out of Middle Tennessee.
Hit a couple of threes a moment ago, yeah.
And Raleigh Alkins out of Arizona. So two guys that play hard, play the right way. And who knows where you go from here. So the big thing back to you, Doris, with Fred was, you said it, you guys have been around a long time. It's hard to gain that trust, right? And especially from your two main guys. And so for them to show that, I think it was a reflection of all the things that Fred did right along the way, the trust that he had built from them.
The guy in Cleveland is no longer in Cleveland, and he has been the primary protagonist when it comes to the Toronto Raptors. That story
antagonist.
has been written. Yeah, antagonist. Yeah. He's in Los Angeles now.
Checks in for Toronto.
Your thoughts on the Eastern Conference? Masai here in the building as well, part of the Brain Trust. People talk about Toronto, talk about Boston. How would you characterize the opportunity right now? Or is the landscape different at all? Is that just perception? Is it the same?
I think with or without the guy who went west, you know, our goal is the same. So you got to go through him one way or the other. So the way we view it now is we've been at the top or near the top of the East for the past few years, and that's where we plan to be going into the year. With Nick at the helm, inevitably things are going to change and approaches are going to change, and so we're looking forward to seeing what he can do, what type of different approaches that he can bring. You guys know how different it can be with a different guy at the helm. So everything from practice schedules to different, in-game strategies, all that type of stuff. So right on cue.
When you've been eliminated by the same man for 3 straight years, you might as well not mention his name. It's he who shall not be named has moved west.
Bobby Webster, general manager of the Toronto Raptors, thanks a lot for joining us. Doris and I both always keep our passports in our bag in April and May, and we
Correct.
think that trend is going to continue with the success of the Raptors.
I know both of you have a lot of fans in Toronto, so.
Thanks for joining us, Bobby.
They still okay with me after that LeBronto thing? Okay. Bobby Webster of the Toronto Raptors. Malik Beasley with another bucket. And the Denver Nuggets back out in front by 2. Von Thompson sitting a screen. And Beasley with another education in anticipation and elevation for the slam.
Boy, he looks terrific, doesn't he?
Wow.
It's like he's in dynamite shape. He's playing with intention and authority on the defensive end. Malik Beasley, one-time Seminole, yet another product of Leonard Hamilton. And if you play for Leonard, you can play D. Getting it done.
Summer League Tournament continues tomorrow in Las Vegas on NBA TV and the app. Miami, New Orleans, Memphis, OKC. Spurs, Bucks, and Jazz, Orlando at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I misspoke a moment ago, said Masai Ujiri was in the house. He is not. That was not Masai Ujiri. That is Baron Davis, B. Diddy, out here in Las Vegas. Watching the action as Denver leads Toronto. Malik Beasley, the main catalyst for the Denver Nuggets, he and Monty Morris. A couple of guys that spent a lot of time with the big team during the regular season. Morris out front. Welsh had his shot blocked. Good closeout by Thompson. Out of bounds. It'll be Denver basketball still.
I liked your question mark to Bobby Webster. What does success look like? And it'll be very interesting to see, because when you fire a 59-win coach and Nick Nurse takes over, who was an assistant coach to Dwayne, what does it look like? If you take a step back in wins total, it sounded to me in response to your question, which was really the most important question that had to be asked, that they will take a step back in wins in the regular season provided they advance deeper into the playoffs. But he said compete for championships and win in the postseason. You were winning in the regular season.
They made it to the conference finals 3 years ago.
Right. And a lot of teams could not beat LeBron. How many straight teams couldn't beat LeBron? 8. That would be 8
and
because
if all those coaches got fired, there'd be a long unemployment.
Right, that's right.
Richardson, Denver, number 25, Malik Beasley.
And it's, listen, I love Nick Nurse's journey. I truly do. It's really incredible to me. Nick Nurse, after graduating from Northern Iowa, he goes to England to play professionally. And within the first couple of weeks of playing, they make him player coach. So Nick Nurse, I think the moment you talk to him, you understand he's bright, he's passionate, and Welch looks like he's hurting a little bit. We'll check it on the other side. Right now, Denver up by 4.
Denver is his best chance. They have been poring over medical information, and they've got a real difficult decision to make. With the 14th pick, the Denver Nuggets select Michael Porter Jr.
If they even feel any way possible that he can get back to 100%, he's worth the gamble. I mean, if he's healthy, could very well be the best player in this entire draft.
Well, Tim Connolly and the Denver Nuggets Brain Trust taking a calculated risk, and maybe they don't feel it's much of a risk at all. Michael Porter Jr., the number 2 recruit coming out of high school, was a fantastic prospect and then injured his back early in his collegiate career at Missouri. Only played a total of 59 minutes or something along that lines and those lines. And man, if he turns out to be a steal, that's going to be quite the story.
Listen, Chauncey Billups, you just heard at the end of that edit. If in fact this kid gets right, he could be the best player in the draft, and there was some big-time talent in this draft. So you pair him with Jokic, who is an outstanding passing center. Murray, who is not a pure point guard, but you don't necessarily have to be to play for Mike Malone. Will Barton, Gary Harris. This kid loves to pass. This is one of the more entertaining players in the league, Jokic. His first instinct is to pass, but he's skilled. There's Jamal Murray down 2 seats.
Kenneth Faried also sitting beside him. A bunch of the Denver Nuggets here in town to watch the Summer League edition play.
And those are his 2 brothers. Yeah. So they were supposedly some epic physical battles amongst those 3 men. But I talked to Jokic this season, and he swears there is video evidence that he made those 2 men, who are pretty tough guys, tap out, Mark.
I'm guessing there was a little bit of bloodshed at somewhere along the line. Brotherly love kind of goes a few different ways and directions at times. And
Strahinja and Nemanja, and I'm not messing with either one.
Nemanja Jokic. Tell you what, he is a wonderful and versatily skilled player when it comes especially to seeing the floor and passing.
Listen, Mike Malone went to bat for him in the MVP conversation because there was a stretch of play where his level of play was extended and it was great. MVP, I don't know, but I love that Mike Malone went to bat for him.
Kennedy Meeks, meanwhile, from the baseline. Meeks was actually a member of the Raptors organization, put in a lot of time with Raptors 905 that won the G League championship the year before last. Denver leading by 6 under 2 minutes to go here in the first half.
Meeks is skilled, and he just showed that on that last bucket.
Beasley on the drive and kick. Williams with a nice mid-range jump shot is good. Nurse has been very hands-on. You watch him on the sidelines. He's got a play call sheet there and barking out instructions on seemingly every possession as OG Anunoby. It's nothing but cord from the corner.
That 12 for OG, I believe.
Yeah. And a response from deep by Lydon.
That jump shot is pure by Tyler Lydon, and he's got tremendous range.
You know, I undersold the story about OG's return to the court a year ago at this time. Layup good underneath by the Raptors. They didn't think that they would get him back, Doris, until about January. But Alex McKechnie and the rest of the Raptors medical staff did some real forward-thinking type of rehabilitation, and OG was ready for training camp. And he was able to become the starter when Norm Powell was injured, lost his starting job, and Anunoby never gave the spot back.
Well, think about it, Mark. If you think about the position he started at, they had given some opportunities by bringing other people from outside the organization in. And I think Masai and Bobby Webster finally just decided last year, once OG became healthy and healthy quickly because of their great staff, why not give one of our picks an opportunity in real time to develop? And now they've accelerated forward to the point where Bobby Webster is saying, listen, here, he's going to get a chance to do some things that probably won't happen in the regular season. But still, let him start to develop that offensive skill set.
He's the focal point of their offense here, as opposed to DeMar DeRozan or Lowry. when they start in October. That's going to be the end of the first half of play. The Denver Nuggets leading by 6, 44-38. Monte Morris got his team rolling early in this ball game. They led by as many as double digits at one point. Halftime coming up. And at half, Cassidy Hubbard will give us a nice tour of the concourse and some of the great things going on here at the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. Stick around. League from Las Vegas. The city aglow at night here as the nighttime hues begin to shine over the rounded shoulders of the mountains here in the Mojave Desert, Dorisburg. A little warm outside, nights inside. Mark Jones, Dorisburg, Cassidy Hubbard joining us in just a bit. The Denver Nuggets got off to a quick start here against the winless Toronto Raptors here in Summer League play. And Doris, Monte Morris showed that he spent some time with the big team during the regular season.
He looks really confident and comfortable. He was so efficient in the first half, Mark. He was 5 for 7, made his only 3, played with great pace. You know, gets the little floater in the lane. Watch to just quick change of pace. That burst got him the N1. On the other side, OG Anunoby. That's what the Summer League team is about for the Toronto Raptors. He had 12 points. He put it between his legs, little, I don't know how to call a half hook, and then off balance could have been an N1. Gets his shoulders turned right around. Not bad.
Yeah,
right?
not bad at all. Also making a nice contribution for the Nuggets in the first half was Malik Beasley. He hit double digits with 10 points in the first half, but OG Anunoby continuing to expand his game. There's Beasley of the Nuggets getting to start here again in the second half. Morris up court. Welsh. Nice backdoor cut by Morris. 4 on the shot clock. Beasley got to find his. Welsh with the stick back. Here come the Raptors. Thompson inside. Nowhere to go, but sometimes you force it and you earn yourself a trip to the foul line. Take a look at the brackets. Top 2 teams, Portland and Los Angeles, got byes. The remaining 28 got to fight it out to get to the championship game. Toronto, Denver, Golden State, Charlotte. Those 2 winners will meet Saturday on NBA TV. Sacramento losing to Cleveland earlier. Cleveland plays Houston, who defeated Brooklyn. What do you make of the format here in your first time around Summer League? Interesting, right?
It is. It is. It's not necessarily single elimination. You said it. Each team is guaranteed 5 games. But I imagine the intensity, we've seen a couple of really competitive, well-played games, but you've been here longer and we'll be here longer this time. Intensity ratchets up?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And especially when you look at the Los Angeles Laker fans that come. They played in the championship game last year, won it. They'll play the Clippers tomorrow. You'll see that game on ESPN2 as UCLA's Welsh hits the jump shot. That'll be a nice scene tomorrow night on ESPN2. Felt like a playoff game last year when the Lakers played.
You did have the Lonzo LeVar element going for you.
Yeah, the show was in town as OG Anunoby now the Phoenix and the Sacramento fans going to make the trip as well here. It's not that far a trip. Ten on the shot clock. Raptors turn it over. Beasley with a great find to Welsh. Almost had himself an and one.
Telling you, Welsh has a good feel. I know physically it's going to be a challenge for that guy, but just got a sense for how to play. He's just trailing. He's looking okay. Nobody's stopping my progress. Makes a nice, strong cut down the paint.
Well, only had one start previous to tonight in the Summer League against Minnesota. He had 5 points and 3 rebounds. At UCLA, averaged 13 per. Shot 40% on his threes for Steve Alford.
Everybody says the same thing, right? Speed and physicality are the biggest adjustments.
The NBA game is a different game.
Mark, I remember doing college basketball and NBA on consecutive nights and actually sort of shaking my head to start an NBA game. Like, I couldn't believe the difference in speed.
It is remarkable. Leiden from outside. Williams missed a couple of tips. Welsh battling, and the jump hook is good. Nuggets up to a 7-point lead. They've come out with a little bit more energy here than the Raptors in the second half. Denver undefeated so far in Summer League play. The Raptors have not won. Here's McIntyre, a little side pick and roll. Nice little scoop shot, but couldn't go. Reset on the shot clock on an offensive rebound, Doris, in Summer League play is only 14.
I'm telling you, Mark, he's communicating Welch on the defensive end. He's calling out coverages. He clearly has intellect for the game, and this will be the big one, right? You got to be able as a big now to shoot that shot.
A whistle and a foul. But Welsh doing good work on the offensive glass for the Nuggets here.
Yep, just, you know, play off your teammates. I thought Williams did a tremendous job with his activity, keeping it alive, and then Welch cleans up. But then you got to be able to move your feet, right? So in that situation, the guard has gotten by his teammates, so he tries to stay in front, makes it a very difficult shot. That'll be a different level athlete coming at him in the regular season. That could be James Harden.
Anthony Davis. And a whole bunch of guys like them are close to it. Miller McIntyre off the screen, well defended by Monty Morris. 9 on the shot clock. Good defense by Leiden, cut off the baseline and forced the turnover.
2 Syracuse guys. He helps Malachi Richardson up, Tyler Leiden. Coach Boeheim saying, that's right, those are my guys. You better help them up.
Jordi Fernandez is the head coach of the Nuggets Summer League edition out of Valladolid, Spain, and the University of Barcelona. Some international flavor on the sidelines for Denver. Off the Morris miss, here come the Raptors. Looking to find a little momentum at the offensive end, and they won't do it that way on the turnover. Morris finds Beasley, and that's going to be goaltending. Malik Beasley with 12 points now after that layup. Love his bounce and his energy as Nick Nurse confers with his staff. I'm just impressed by the number of people in Malik Beasley's family that have been on the silver screen and done a bunch of films. His dad was in Rudy. Mom also been in some films.
You are a wealth of information this evening, Mark Jones.
I like doing homework, Dorisberg. You know, it's just kind of the thing I do. And Anunoby kicked it out, and Beasley with great defensive anticipation. You see how dynamic he is, Doris, as an athlete.
I'll tell you, his instincts defensively have been terrific tonight, right? I mean, that's at least 3 times that guy has jumped the passing lane this evening.
Denver leading by 11 points. 5.5 to go, and foul called.
If he were a defensive back, they would call this closing speed. I said it. 3 steals. They've all come jumping the passing lane. Out in transition. There's that dynamic athleticism.
His mom and dad may be actors, but that's real. .534 to go in the third quarter. Day 1 of tournament play here at the Las Vegas Summer League, and Denver Nuggets leading by 11 points. A look at some young and talented players moving forward for this franchise in the Western Conference, a very competitive Western Conference. We're joined now by the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, Coach Malone. And man, I think about the indelible image is it coming down to that last day of the regular season. You had some great contract signings during the summer that now there are few anxieties moving forward, especially when you look at the big 7-footer who's sitting courtside here, Nikola Jokic. What does it mean to have him now?
Oh, it's a relief.
Yeah.
Obviously we had a press conference back in Denver on Monday. To know that Nikola Jokic will be wearing a Denver Nugget uniform for 5 more years, I think makes all of us within the organization and the city very, very happy and relieved. And to also sign Will Barton to a contract who was such a key part of what we did last year. So when the season ended for us, Mark, we knew free agency was going to be about bringing back our own guys, and continue to grow. We came up 1 game short, as you alluded to, and hopefully those guys can help us get over the hump next year.
But 59% of your scoring has been done in the past year by those 23 or younger. But I would like to talk specifically about Jokic. There was a point at which, Mike, you went to bat for him because you said he was at an MVP level. What did you ask him to think about in this offseason and moving into next?
That's a great question, Doris. For me, it was more about the mental side of things. He is one of the more skilled players in the NBA. Obviously, 2 years ago, when I inserted him into the lineup on December 15th, our offense has been one of the elite offenses in the NBA ever since. We played through him. He's a focal point. For me, it was handle adversity. Quit, arguing and talking with the referees, play your game. And when things don't go your way, we need you to handle that in a much more mature manner. And I think this past season he took a step in the right direction with that. And I think he even mentioned it the other day in the press conference, he has to continue to do that as well. And then the other side of that is just continue working on his body and his footwork and playing in a stance. I thought he was much more engaged on defense this past year. And he's still young.
He is.
And people forget how young we are. You had the graphic up there with Jamal, Gary, and Nikola. Close to 60% of our points by 23 years or older younger players, which I think is remarkable. And to win 46 games in the West with young players is not an easy thing to do. And I give our guys all the credit.
What does it mean to have Will Barton done? You guys got that done relatively quickly, too. And Will Barton, a guy that league-wide maybe doesn't get the respect that he does as being an all-around player, especially at the defensive end, right?
Will wore many hats for us last year. He was a small forward. He was a shooting guard. And for a while, he was our backup point guard. And when we looked at the numbers after the season, and especially when he was a starter, his numbers, but more importantly, our numbers and winning percentage was really high.
Really?
And, Tim Conley in the front office did a great job, as well as ownership, in making sure we brought Will back because he's a key piece. And he said it the other day, not many coaches would allow Will Barton to be Will Barton. They would ask him to be Will Barton, and there are times I let him be Thrill, Will the Thrill, and probably too many times. But I love Will, his family, and I'm so thankful that he's back in a uniform. And we're all motivated. We still have that loss against Minnesota, game 82, in our gut, and that's a bad memory for us. And we're all working hard to make sure we're not in that same situation next year.
You'll get better on the road. That's part of being a young team. I would ask you, because we ran a piece earlier tonight, Mike, all about Michael Porter Jr. And at the end of it, our Chauncey Billups, who knows a thing or two about this league and winning championships, said, if this kid is right, he could end up being the best player in the draft. Can you give us some sense of where he is physically, what you're expecting as you march later and later into the summer, where he's at?
Yeah, we felt the same way on draft night. We felt picking at 14, he was far too great of a talent to pass up on. And the great thing about our draft room, we had ownership in there, the Kroenke family, our front office, myself, and we all agreed that Michael Porter, if you look at the history of his game, being MVP in all the games he's played in, and we felt that when we get him healthy, he's going to have a chance to be, along with Gary, Jamal, Nikola, Trey Lyles, Michael Porter, that's going to be a hell of a player for us. So, we're not going to rush him back. We said from day one, we're going to do everything we can to try to get his back right, get him healthy, and we'll not rush him until he's ready to come back and impact and play at a high level for us.
Hey, Coach, one of the guys that's really taking advantage and seizing opportunity in Summer League has been Malik Beasley, one of the most dynamic players you've got on your roster. What are his prospects looking like moving forward?
Malik had a chance to play last year, 62 games. There was a stretch where he was a rotational player for us. He has a chance to be an elite defender, in my opinion. I think what I've seen from him in Summer League from Game 1 to tonight in Game 4, he gets himself into trouble when he tries to do too much, and he's trying to simplify his game and just take what the defense gives him. But I love the energy and effort with Malik plays with, and the defensive versatility that he has potential for us.
Great stuff. Coach Malone, we're going to ask you to stick around, give us a couple more minutes on the other side of the break. Mark Jones, Doris Burke, alongside Coach Malone of the Denver Nuggets when we return. Well, the NBA Summer League Tournament continues tomorrow on ESPN2. It all starts 4:30 Eastern. Knicks Celtics, then 76ers Suns, followed by Clippers Lakers, wrapping up with Hawks and Trailblazers. All games streaming live on the ESPN app as well. Doris Burke,
the great
Coach Malone.
The great Bennett Salvatore.
That's Bennett Salvatore, longtime NBA referee, one of the best ever to do it. My former neighbor in Stamford, Connecticut. Hey, we were talking during the break about relationships with your players. Tell us about your visit to Serbia to spend some time with your center, Nikola Jokic. What was that like?
You didn't wrestle the brothers.
No.
No fights?
I don't do that. I learned from watching them fight amongst themselves. But for me, and I learned this from my father a long time ago, as a coach, you have to know X's and O's. You have to be able to draw up a play at the end of a game. But relationships are so important, and your ability to get along with your players and get to know your players as people first and foremost. So I love going over there, spending time with Nikola, his brothers, his mother and father, and all the people around him that have made him the special young man that he is. And I know they appreciate myself making the effort to go all the way over to Sombor, Serbia, and even going to see Juancho Hernan Gomez in Spain. Those relationships, and I think it speaks volumes, Mark, for me. Last week, to start the Summer League, we had 7 veterans here supporting their young guys and working out. That speaks to the culture that we have, and Nicola's here with his brothers. He's a lot wealthier right now than he was a few weeks ago, and I'm going to ask him for a loan.
He made some friends. Yeah, I see. You talk about guys here offering support. I see Kenneth Reed on the sidelines as well for the Denver Nuggets.
Jamal Murray, Kenneth is here, Nikola. So we've had a great turnout by our veteran players, which I appreciate so much.
Mike, we talked yesterday. We had Coaches Appreciation Day, and we talked about 6 different coaches. It's incredible to me that 2 head coaches in the NBA, there's only 30 positions, they're both Worcester Academy products. I asked Rick about Tom Blackburn. Can you describe the influence of somebody that was, important when you were a formative basketball player?
Yeah, when I was a young punk. I went to Worcester Academy in Massachusetts, and I had the opportunity to play for Coach Blackburn. And I went there having no relationship, really not knowing what to expect. And it was a blessing for me, Doris, because I always was at my best when I played for coaches, probably like my father, old school, tough, demanding. But I also knew Coach Blackburn loved me. And that relationship that Rick Carlisle has with Coach, that I have with Coach, and many other people within the NBA who have gone to Worcester Academy is unique. And I feel really fortunate to have played for what I consider a New England Prep School Hall of Fame coach in Tom Blackburn. And it was a tremendous year for me to grow up and mature, not only as a player but as a person. And Coach Blackburn had a lot to do with that.
Offensive foul. No, that's going to be a block. Hey, yesterday was Coach Appreciation Day, and Doris mentioned it. Guys were alluding to some of the influences and mentors they had coming into the business. Your dad has always been one of the guys that treated me really well, going back to his time with the Raptors and other stops that he's made in the NBA. Tell us what he's doing and how he's doing and the influence he's had on you.
Oh, well, he's doing well, first and foremost. I appreciate you asking. I went back to New York to see both he and my mother on Father's Day, and that was great for me, my wife, my 2 girls, to spend time with my family. He's a basketball lifer, and he watches every one of our Summer League games. I get texts at 2 in the morning from him questioning, why would you do that? What about this? And I appreciate it so much because I know how much he cares about me, how much he loves me, and I wouldn't be in the position I'm in if it wasn't for my father and my mother, who have both have had a huge impact on the person that I've become. So very, very fortunate to have grown up in a gym. Powell Memorial High School, New York
Yes.
City, on to college, is into the NBA, and I'm one of 6 children, and I'm the only one stupid enough to follow in my father's footsteps.
And he loves you for it. The family business,
Yes.
right?
He does. All right, we got to, before we let you go, LeBron James is now in the Western Conference. As you said, it is a brutally tough conference. So what will define success for you guys this year, Mike?
You know, the biggest area of improvement has to be on the defensive end. You know, all of our young players are maturing, they're getting better, they're growing up in front of our eyes. We have an elite offense.
No doubt.
We have a team that shares the ball at a high level. We're a fun team to watch. But we have to be a lot better defensively if we want to be a team that's not only going to make the playoffs, but be a team that can advance in the playoffs. And I think we all realize that. We're all dedicated to finding ways from a personnel standpoint, from a game plan standpoint, to commit more to that end of the floor. The other thing I would say, Doris, would be we also have to understand over 82 games, we can't just get up for the big games.
Correct.
There were games, and maybe that's a sign of our immaturity or lack of experience, but there were games that we probably did not approach the same as when we beat Golden State twice.
Right.
And we have to understand it's not about who we're playing, it's about what we're trying to accomplish as an organization.
Impressive dunk there by Terry. He caught a body on that dunk, and Denver leading by 5. Hey, Coach, we want to thank you very much for joining us. Good luck moving forward this year, and say hi to your dad.
Yes.
I definitely
Tell
will.
him we said hello.
Mark, Doris, I appreciate you having me on, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Jordy Fernandez, our Summer League head coach. Jordy and the coaches have done a great job, and I've really enjoyed watching the Summer League team play together, play so hard, and Jordy gets a lot of credit of that, so I'm proud of him and the job they've done.
Great stuff.
Thank
Great
you,
stuff.
Mike.
Mike Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, joining us.
Toronto foul number 18, Jordan Lloyd, his third.
Jordy got a
personal
tech
foul.
in the first
First
half.
team
I loved it.
foul under 2 minutes.
You didn't give him the manual, huh?
I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get fined for a Summer League tech. So there's no fine accrued to the technical foul, so he'll be okay. But I love the fire. I love the passion that he, the coaches, and the whole team and our bench. When you watch our team play, you see a very connected group that plays hard and supports each other.
They went to the locker room together. You're 100% right.
Blocking out of bounds. 2 seconds to go. What would you draw up? Give us your 2-second full court inbound play.
Number
Coach.
one, I'd make sure I don't turn the ball over and give Toronto a chance to score to close the quarter. But
Okay.
with 2 seconds to go. Okay, well, we're on defense
Throw
right
it to
now.
Gary Harris.
Yeah,
Bray?
yeah. Throw it to Nicole Jokic like Christian Laettner. Let him make a play like back in the day.
There you go. 3 quarters in the bag. We're going to keep you around. Tell us about this alley-oop.
Your score after 3 quarters of play, Denver.
Give us a little analysis.
Okay, this
here,
is
Coach.
Scott Machado coming off. Emmanuel Terry, who's been a great pickup for us. He's a great screener. He rolls with force. Scott makes the pass, and Emmanuel does the job, knocking it down.
You got the job. Back for the start of the 4th quarter. Mark Jones, Doris Burke, Cassidy Hubbard on day 1 of tournament play at the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League.
They got a chance to be formidable, Denver. He's right. Their offense,
They're fun to watch.
they are dynamite to watch.
They get buckets.
They get buckets.
Part of that, man, you watch them play at home especially. They run and then run some more in the thin air of the Mile High City. 2-on-1. Machado turns it over. Boucher fouled. Interesting about Boucher, we've seen him on a few occasions do some nice things defensively. Boucher just finished a stint with the Canadian national team. He's a 2nd-round pick of the Golden State Warriors. Played in the World Cup qualification for Canada. Played recently against the Dominican Republic, and Canada advancing to the next stage of World Cup qualification as a result of some of Boucher's efforts. Saw Jamal Murray courtside here tonight. I believe he was part of that roster as well. But you know what's interesting, Doris?
What?
The whole dynamic of FIBA, NBA, international basketball. I asked Jokic, are you going to play for Serbia in World Cup qualification? And he said no. And part of the reason was they're trying to get that contract done. Guys don't doubt their dollars or put their dollars at risk internationally. And sometimes the insurance policies become a little bit of an issue for those basketball federations to insure NBA players while they're playing for their native countries, especially if a guy is in a contract year having his deal done.
It becomes a problem, you mean, financially.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's exorbitant.
Yeah. I like to say sometimes it's not about nationalism, it's about capitalism.
You say that quite a bit,
You got to lock your dollars up before you wave that flag. Denver leading by 1. Good defense by the Raptors. McIntyre had it knocked out of bounds off of Machado's leg.
Cody Miller-McIntyre, Wake Forest product. He is going to lock and trail, get a hand on the basketball, but it hits the Denver Machado and goes into the backcourt. It's a really good D.
McKinney left it short and will go to the free throw line for a pair.
Frustration for Tyler Lydon. He felt like he had slid his feet. Challenged without fouling.
There's a look at the new head coach of the Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse, former assistant on Dwayne Casey's staff. I'll tell you a little story about Nick Nurse. We talked about some of the basketball items on his resume, winning championships in the G League, winning championships overseeing Great Britain. He is a little bit of a renaissance man. And Paul Jones, one of the voice of the Toronto Raptors basketball,
and the
my brother,
distinguished brother of Mark Jones,
told me a couple of years ago, actually, 2 years ago, after a loss against the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs, my brother's walking back to the hotel room and he's walking by this empty conference room with a piano in it. And he hears the piano playing and he thinks it's one of those automatic pianos where there's nobody actually playing, the keys just move on their own. He looked in the room, it was Nick Nurse playing the piano. And quite skillfully.
You're so surprised.
How many NBA coaches besides Rick Carlisle do you know that can hit the ivory like that?
Well, there's at least one more.
Okay, 2 out of 30 is pretty good, I guess. Nice cut by Beasley, rejected by Boucher. That's 6 blocks for Boucher underneath.
You talk about what he does defensively. I talked about that lean frame. But boy, he gets off his feet quickly, does a good job sending it back without fouling.
This Boucher, who was born in St. Lucia.
A good cut there, Mark. Opportunistic.
Boucher spent last season with Santa Cruz in the G League. Machado back to the corner. Beasley had a notion. Morris doesn't hesitate. And Machado with the board. Machado played for Iona. Morris inside. Tipped up no good, and the Raptors leading by 3 now. Great ball movement. Potts got it!
Boy, he's money. Potts gets it off in a hurry.
Shooters shoot. Blue Raider out of Middle Tennessee State.
Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao is back. The sport's history-making 8-division world champion returns to the ring, and it's only on ESPN+. Power punching belt holder Lucas Matisse is the target. As Pac-Man goes for his 60th career win, it's Manny Pacquiao's return, live from Malaysia on ESPN+, part of your ESPN app, Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
That fight looks like a good matchup on ESPN+. Lots of great things there, including Kobe Bryant's breakdown. I love that.
So did the players.
Yeah. Detail by Kobe Bryant, part of the ESPN Plus package. The law, Boucher! Bam! Boucher!
Did we get another technical foul somewhere? I think we just had another technical foul.
You might be right. Fernandez, because the official pointed immediately at the Denver bench, and Fernandez.
I don't think it was Fernandez.
No?
I feel like it.
Technical.
It may go to him. It was Welch. Oh, it was Welch. It was Thomas Welch.
Well, the Nuggets.
What was Mike Malone saying about being fiery?
Yeah. And Welsh holding his palm skyward as if to say, what happened? It wasn't me.
I didn't do it.
That's what they all say, but Denver down by 9 now. And 11-0 Raptors won. And keep in mind that Toronto has yet to win a game in Summer League play. 0-3 coming into this one, with the second worst point differential before tournament play. Doris, you know what I say? You always got to look out for that upset, that 429 match.
Yeah, right.
Hawkins. Oh, they're loving this on Young Street and Bay Street. Boucher!
Wow, this young man's having himself a game. 6 blocks, draining a 3, getting in transition.
He is cooking. Block shots, he's got 6 of them already. A force at the offensive end. Raptors force the turnover. And Anunoby, the lob. Oh, gee! Oh, my! The Raptors have turned up the heat. Ryden trying to cool them off a little bit. Raptors surging ahead by 11. Little two-man game. Boucher sets it. Had a mismatch momentarily. Corner jumper good. Potts. A 16-3 run. Giddy Potts had a great career at Middle Tennessee State. Kermit Davis, Jared Lazarus, and the rest of the staff there at Middle Tennessee. Your name is Giddy, you know you got some game. Hawkins kicks it out. OG Anunoby. Oh, leave it up. Post for the camera.
He might not be the original OG, but he's doing work right now.
Oh.
Let's give you some of the Raptors' work. Their last 4 buckets, little pick and roll action. Boucher spaces into pick and pop. And oh my goodness, 3-on-1 run by OG. Give it up, get it back. And Giddy Potts, man, he gets it off quick. Mark.
Yep.
And then OG. Another 3.
The OG is for outstanding gunner right now. Boy, there went up quickly. 17-point lead for the Raptors. And the Nuggets have gone ice cold. Denver 1 of 11 from the field here in the fourth quarter. McIntyre out front. And Anunoby set the screen. They got the switch. Hawkins inside, couldn't finish. Beasley been a little bit quiet here in the second half offensively. Has just 1 field goal. And attacking the rim. Beasley, rim rocket.
You just keep that ball moving, and eventually somebody's going to be in a closeout situation, and the ball found the right guy for that, Beasley. Mike Malone was talking to us about moving the basketball, playing a pretty brand of basketball. Well, the ball moved, and Beasley made good use of a close that was not under control.
Wow. Think about the young talent in that Denver backcourt. As talented and as much potential as Beasley has, he's got to contend with Harris and Murray at that spot. Potts.
I would say that's a foul on Leiden.
Yeah. 3:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Toronto with a big second half, leading by 15. And Nick Nurse, the head coach on the sideline, he said he was saving his best for when it counts, right?
He did. He did.
that's what General Manager Bobby Webster told us, that they want that postseason winning. So in the tournament, the Raptors trying to wipe clean that 0-3 opening round record of theirs. Not sure that Summer League applies. I'm just kidding, Raptor fans. Giddy blocked.
Shot clock violation.
Hey, the Summer League tournament continues tomorrow in Las Vegas on ESPN2 in the app. New York, Boston, Philly, Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers should be very interesting. That building will be lit. And then Atlanta, Portland, Trae Young, and the Atlanta Hawks in a big comeback tonight, taking on the Portland Trailblazers, the number 2 seed in the tournament, behind the Los Angeles Lakers.
Did we just get another technical foul?
A double technical this time.
Is this a record in the Summer League game you've called?
We're getting there. I'll get Steve LeBeau, our stat man, on that.
Toronto, technical foul number 20, Giddy Potts. Denver, technical foul number 34, Kenrich Williams.
So it'll be Denver basketball. Beasley, step back 3. What's my name? Michael Beasley. That's a nice looking shot, Doris.
Yes, sir.
But is it too little too late for the Nuggets, trailing by 12? Alkins with the answer, not quite, not even close.
It's just a bad possession.
That was one of those my turn shots. Gliding Beasley in rhythm. Heat check. A little bit short.
It's another bad shot.
I think you heard Kenneth Faried and Jamal Murray in his ear courtside there saying, come on, they can't stick you. Tried to make the extra pass, tipped out of bounds by McIntyre. 2:16 to go. Beasley trying to catch fire. Boucher getting it done for Toronto.
Timeout on the floor.
Back at Cox Pavilion, the MGM NBA Summer League. Toronto Raptors surging here in the fourth quarter, outscoring Denver 22-8. Nuggets with 2:16 to go, trying to mount a comeback. Tough shot by Leiden as the shot clock was expiring. OG with a little Canadian room service. Lead is up to 14. He's got 22.
2 minutes remaining in regulation
Monty
time.
Morris
2 minutes.
blocked but fouled by Boucher. And Morris going to go to the free throw line. It was interesting during the break. Jordy Fernandez, acting Summer League head coach for the Denver Nuggets, was out of the foul line, hotly debating, incensed about something with the officials.
Perhaps the technicals?
Yeah, best guess. Hey, it's hot out here in the desert. It's the middle of July. And the Denver Nuggets looking at potentially their first loss of the Summer League. Morris knocks down the second. Lead is down to 12, under 2 minutes to go. Little full court press here. Giddy Potts gets it over midcourt just in time. And Wisely pulls it out. They're going to run a half-court set with 7 on the shot clock. Lloyd, a little hezzy. Oh, he put it on a platter and got the layup to go.
Jordan Lloyd, high off the
Jordan Lloyd. Raptors playing their best game of Summer League, looking to advance. That's going to be a foul on the attempt. Latko Kankar from Slovenia going to go to the free throw line.
Personal foul.
So that's part of the deal now. Coach Balone talking about it. Visited Hernan Gomez in Spain, visited Jokic in Serbia.
Congratulations to him, by the way. 20 years married to his bride.
Unbelievable. That is great. That is a fantastic thing.
Sorry about that. Continue on.
that's
Coach,
great.
Coach.
Because, you know, our coach's general wellness and happiness has been in the spotlight this past season.
It's a great point, Mark.
Guys like Steve Clifford and Ty Lue in Cleveland having to take time from the sidelines to take care of their health. It's good to hear stories of guys celebrating their winning anniversaries and being in fantastic health.
Denver in full court pressure trying to mount a comeback.
Yeah, that international travel for these coaches is a good thing. Building up relationships. McIntyre trying to hold off this trapping pressure, and they turn it over. Here's Morris. Kankar from deep. And the Raptors with a rebound, under a minute to go, a foul called. Yesterday we heard Rick Carlisle on Coach Appreciation Day talking about visiting Luka Doncic and his mother and his family in Ljubljana, Slovenia.
First team foul under 2 minutes.
I know that Eric Spoelstra recently last year went to Slovenia and visited Goran Dragic. David Fisdale talking about going to Latvia to visit his star player, Kristaps Porzingis, who's recovering from a knee injury.
Be interesting to see when Porzingis makes it back.
Don't want to rush him. He's a franchise cornerstone. Hawkins with the slam, and Toronto comfortably ahead. This one is cooked, glazed, and about to be sliced. A foul called. 39 seconds to go.
Toronto foul number 11, and Cody Miller-McIntyre, his second personal foul. At the line to shoot 2 throws for Denver, Monte Morris.
Monte Morris at the line. The 29-seeded Raptors on the verge of upsetting the number 4 seed Denver Nuggets. A strong second half. They've had a lot of contributors too. The winner of this game plays the winner of Golden State and Charlotte. They're currently playing across the hallway at Thomas and Mack. Anunoby with a big game for the Raptors. 22 points. I'm walking into the gym if I'm Anunoby in September, say, hey, Kyle, DeMar, I got this, okay?
Kyle and DeMar going, settle down, young fella.
You know, I'm the captain now.
Monte Morris.
Morris with the 3.
Ball.
The lead is 8. Morris got off to that quick start for Denver, as did Malik Beasley, but not quite enough in the second half. Able to keep that going as the Toronto Raptors surprise the number 4 seed, number 29, upends, usurps number 4, Denver, 85-77. So Denver will be on to the championship round. They'll play one more consolation round game. And Toronto will move on to play the winner of Golden State or Charlotte. He completed it over on NBA TV across the way.
Boy, Potts, I'm not saying that he's that guy, but the way he shoots it and how fast he gets it off, like microwave. Vinnie Johnson, like catch, shoot, score from 3.
Guys who can get immediate buckets are a commodity in this,
no doubt.
This new NBA. And Cassidy standing by with Victoria's head coach Nick Nurse.
Coach, you guys trailed by as much as 12 in this game, but that fourth quarter, you took a 16-3 run. What did you say to the guys, and what changed?
We've been trailing this whole summer league, Cassidy, but we've been, working hard just to keep improving and just kind of find the right combination there of guys, and they started playing some D and kind of fueled our offense.
You certainly have a knack for timing, getting your first win in tournament play to advance. Yeah. What do you think has been the growth throughout this process?
First of all, we have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of guys just out of college, right? So we knew it was going to be a little bit of a process, and we didn't really react anyway to the losses, and we're just kind of stretching it out and building, playing longer minutes better. We still have a lot of mistakes and things to clean up, but we've been seeing growth every day, and I'm glad they got a win to show their hard work paid off.
And defensively, you're able to lock down the Nuggets there in the second half. Chris Boucher, what did you make of his block party he put on?
It was unbelievable. He really changed the game. He was great. really protected the rim, and that's vital when they're getting in there deep and he's beating them out of there. Then we're heading the other way. He was awesome.
You told me pregame you wanted OG out here to work on his game, to build on his game. 22 points tonight. How have you seen his confidence grown offensively?
Well, he's doing a little better, right? He's obviously, we're doing more things to get him the ball a little more often than he's used to having it. And at times during the game, I said, okay, let's get back to playing a little bit more, regular, and then I'll come back with some sets for you, and let's move it a little bit more. And but he got out, got some easy buckets. He made a couple threes and did a good job.
Congrats on the win and good luck down the road.
Thank you.
As we try to get a hold of OG, who's back here.
Come on, OG.
OG, just talking to your coach there, talking about your confidence on offense and how it's grown. 22 points tonight. How'd you feel?
I feel good. The coaching staff, they do a good job telling me to be confident and aggressive, and the players too, trying to get me involved.
Talk about that fourth quarter run, you guys. But you trailed by as much as 12 in this game, but you really dominated in the fourth quarter. What was the difference?
We just try to pick up on defense, try to get stops, and run on transition because we're confident we can make shots, we move the ball.
You're used to the pace at the NBA level, but how does it feel, telling the guys around you how to adjust during the summer league?
It feels good. I need to be more of a leader, so I'm working on it right now. And I'm used to Kyle and DeMar telling me what to do and helping us get through it, so I'm trying to help all the guys get their stuff. Yeah,
that was a conversation our guys at the booth were talking about, Doris and Mark, of course, talking about how you've been feeding off of Kyle and DeMar. How has it changed here, your role here in Summer League?
Just me helping other guys stay confident, be ready to shoot, just giving them confidence to play.
Congrats on the win, OG. Moving on to your first win, that Summer League. Back to you guys.
OG Anunoby with a big game tonight for the Toronto Raptors in the win. Still a lot of basketball left here in Las Vegas as part of the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League across the way. Charlotte leading Golden State 63-56. The winner of that one will take on the Raptors. We'll peek in on that right after this. Hey, the NBA Summer League tournament continues tomorrow on ESPN2. It all starts 4:30 Eastern, Knicks and Celtics. And then the 76ers and Suns, followed by Battle of Los Angeles to stay alive in the tournament format. Clippers, Lakers, Josh Hart in the mix there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander amongst the players on the floor for the Los Angeles Clippers. And another one tomorrow should be great. We'll start off with Atlanta and Portland. Boy, Trae Young was really good today. He kind of showed the side of Trae Young that the Hawks have been waiting for after a slow start that started a little bit of panic amongst some of the Summer League people, which is incredulous in itself.
There's no doubt. He got out of the gate shooting it poorly, and I think it sort of snowballed downhill. But you got to give the young man some credit for rebounding nicely. And I feel like the night he had double-digit assists is when things changed for him. Makes a nice assist here. Best part was tonight, 16 points in the second half. Timely assists, he had 5 of those, and he had the game-winning bucket. So I just feel like he's showing some of the range, the get-by ability, make that extra pass, the vision that they were hoping to see. You've got to be able to absorb the double team and, oh yeah, give me a little flex because I've earned it tonight. And this is the game winner. Defense closes too tight, he puts the floater on him. That's pretty.
There's such hype surrounding him coming into the NBA Summer League and into the regular season after this, no doubt. But there's a look at the marked improvement. Started off, he had a 3-for-16 game in the Utah Summer League, and now a much more efficient 7-for-14 tonight. The second half after the Atlanta-Portland tomorrow night will be Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. It's going to be a lot of purple and gold in the building. Josh Hart has been one of the standouts, one of the top 5 players in the Summer League so far.
This is intriguing to me because the Kawhi Leonard trade remains at a standstill. And Josh Hart has proven, we saw a year ago, that he was an excellent defensive player at this level in the games he played. He can cross positions defensively, and that's of huge value. Here for the Lakers, they wanted him to take command of the offense, to be able to be more aggressive offensively. Well, how about that for a left-handed throwdown? He's been efficient shooting the basketball. Everything you would have asked him to do at Summer League, Josh Hart has delivered on.
That'll be Lakers-Clippers tomorrow night on ESPN2. Meanwhile, currently available on the ESPN app. It'll be Golden State and Charlotte. We're going to check in on it right now with Kristen Ledlow and Steve Smith.
And ball handling ability to be such a big guy.
He's been put together for a long time, and happy to see him. 14 points. Knocked down a couple of threes. He's 5 for 14, has 7 rebounds. Really improved his free throw shooting from his freshman year to his sophomore year.
It's got to be a difficult skill, though, to harness as a big man. As your body continues to develop, as the weight that it takes to get the ball to the rim continues to change, it's not an easy thing.
He was in his 60s and ended up, I think, at 87, 88 this year.
The Charlotte Hornets lead the way here 72-60. With 6:08 to go in this fourth quarter, Dwayne Bacon leads the way. Willie Hernan-Gomez tries to get one to go, but can't. The Warriors are headed the other way. Hernan-Gomez, though, with yet another double-double.
10-point game.
The Warriors have never led in this game, but it's never really felt out of reach for them either, which I guess that's kind of a Warriors thing to do, huh?
Right.
On the floor right now. Yep. Let's see Dwayne Bacon taking the ball out of bounds. And a lineup that's been able to take advantage offensively here for the Charlotte Hornets. Hernan-Gomez tries to create inside close to the basket, but can't get it to go.
Well, nice
Warriors ball.
Fake handoff, and coming off of it, Willie thought that he was going to keep running, but he didn't. Chile kind of stopped.
A 10-point game now.
Created a turnover.
Warriors driving. Kodo gets the floater to go inside. Great coaching, by the way, from Charlotte. The head coach did go to the same school as our sideline reporter, Jared Greenberg.
Well, did they go at the same time? Because I know Jared didn't go to class.
But you have a connection with him as well, right?
Yeah.
Jay Hernandez.
For sure. I mean, I'm sorry, Jared. Can we open up your mic?
Sure. I mean,
yeah,
I'd
I
love
think
to
it's
speak.
stayed open.
Our award-winning producer, Greg Pike, just wants no part of this conversation, apparently. Yeah, Jay Hernandez played for Jay Wright at Hofstra and alongside Speedy Claxton, who you ended up playing with in San Antonio, and Speedy a big part of the Spurs championship.
Well, and he also was in Orlando, and I have a cat named Magic, so
that's a good point, yeah.
I'm in on this also, guys. Don't leave me out.
Yeah, I did play with Speedy. I want to thank Speedy Claxton. And there's Miles Bridges moving it. Went to Hofstra. I will say, to Jared's point, Speedy Claxton, one of those guys that when you look from a small school, we used to go back to New York, and it was fans everywhere for Speedy Claxton. And I'm being serious. Speedy had a fan base around the country.
The Hornets again with possession. And the 76-64 lead here with 4 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Willie looking to Miles, back to Willie, pulls up for three, and he gets it to go as the Hornets continue to pull away. I want to ask you, though, Smitty, about the Warriors franchise as a whole, because somehow their 4 All-Stars have added a 5th in that potential starting lineup around January or so when DeMarcus Cousins returns from injury.
I will say, I mean, I'm sure you watch DeMarcus Cousins, people are upset that he's joining the Warriors. But from my understanding, you saw there was not a lot of teams out there going after DeMarcus Cousins. So I don't fault the Golden State Warriors on this one. I don't fault DeMarcus Cousins. He's saying, why not? I didn't have a lot of takers. And
right.
Well, what's scary is obviously he has an injury. But even if however long it takes, he will not be playing for anybody else. He will have the Warriors, and we understand they are just fine without him.
Right.
But if you can get a healthy DeMarcus Cousins going into the playoffs, that is scary.
He's going to be playing for a team that has the luxury of not rushing him back.
Well, you can see the conclusion of that game on NBA TV between Golden State and Charlotte. The winner of that one will take on the Toronto Raptors. Don't forget, tomorrow we have a fantastic double dip for you on ESPN2. Atlanta taking on Portland, and then the Battle of Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Los Angeles Clippers on a beautiful night here in the desert. The final score in our game was the Toronto Raptors defeating the Nuggets 85-77. World Series of Poker final table is coming up next in the city where Lady Luck always lives. Our Summer League coverage continues tomorrow on ESPN2 and NBA TV. For Doris Burke and Cassidy, I'm Mark Jones. We're out of here.